today I'm going to show you how to make the red velvet cake here in the cake unit. So when you get your recipe, you're going to have to reduce this down by 4, so it could be kind of tricky, so make sure you check your math with your teacher. The first step you're going to do is you're going to cream together the butter and the sugar. Okay, so into my KitchenAid, it's always easier if you do it in the KitchenAid, it goes by faster if you cream your butter and sugar together, and it could be any kind of fat when you're creaming, but butter is in what we use in this recipe. So it's 1 stick or a half cup of butter and 1.5 cups of sugar. So I'm just going to start off slow, gradually increase my speed. All right. You're just going to cream it until it's nice and creamy looking, and the butter I used was softened already, so it should go by a little faster. With baking and you're making cakes, it's always good to bring your butter to room temperature, and increase my speed just a little. I'm going to stop it just because some sticking to the sides. You want to make sure all that butter and sugar is evenly distributed, just like so. So right now I'm at about a 6. Always start low and gradually increase or it will end up in your face. Nice mess to clean up. Alright, and that's looking nice and fluffy. So as that mixes, what I did was the recipe calls for 2 eggs and a teaspoon of vanilla. That's the next step. I already combined these 2 things together, so it's nice and prepped. You will probably have a day for mise en place for this recipe. Alright, so you can see it's nice and light and fluffy, so I'm going to stop it. Add in my egg. Make sure I get it all out. Scrape the sides, just make sure you get it all. And again, that's my egg and vanilla combined. And the vanilla is for flavoring, egg binds and helps leaven. Mix that on together. Then in the meantime, red velvet cake is almost like, it's chocolate cake essentially dyed red, and then it has like a cream, usually either buttermilk, sour cream, or mayonnaise to make it nice and very, very moist. We're going to be using buttercream, or buttermilk, excuse me, and buttermilk is just low-fat skim milk with a little bit of vinegar. You wouldn't want to drink it straight up, but in a cake or a pancake recipe, it's amazing. So in my dry ingredient bowl, I have flour, cocoa powder, and salt. It's all mixed together. I just whisked it with a whisk. It's better to incorporate it like this. Okay. So then now I'm going to stop it. Okay, and I'm going to add in, alternating, my buttermilk, which is 1 cup, and 2 tablespoons of red food coloring. I'm going to add a little bit at a time. So about 1/3 of this is what you're going to start with, and about 1/2 of this. Like so. Okay, start off slow. You don't want the red all over, and gradually increase. So you can see it's a nice red color. And usually this cake is topped with cream cheese frosting, so we'll be making that after the cake's done. This is usually a lot of people's favorites. It's very, very rich and tasty. I'm going to stop it to scrape the sides. Make sure you get to the bottom, because sometimes the paddle doesn't always go to the bottom. It doesn't always get incorporated. So now I'm just going to add in a little bit more of my dry mixture, about 1/3, and then the rest of this. Start off slow, and as it starts coming together, increase your speed. It's getting that dark red color. Okay, I'm going to scrape the sides. And I'm going to incorporate my last 1/3. So as soon as it's all mixed together, I'll show you what it looks like. look in, you can see it's a nice rich red color, nice and creamy is what it should look like. And then the last thing you're gonna do, and this is the fun part, you've all done in your probably, you know, elementary science class, it's baking soda and vinegar. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna first put in our baking soda, and this is just gonna cause a chemical reaction, and it provides the acid, so it reacts to help rise your cake. And it works with the buttermilk, all the good stuff in there. So you can see the fizz, so it's kind of cool, since baking is a science. We're gonna mix this. And that helps give it its rich color. Mix that on up. Give it one final mixy mix. Just to make sure it's nice and creamy. And we are good. So I'm gonna take this out. Push up with your KitchenAid. This out. Alright, so what you're going to do now is get all of that good batter out. Scrape the sides just to make sure you get it all. Okay. And what I forgot to do at the beginning was I forgot to show you to prepare your pan. It's important that your pan is prepared ahead of time. As you see, I'm wiping my table down, cleaning as I go. A very important step in baking, okay? So what we did was we have pan liners. And these make for easy getting out the cake. So put the pan, you can put a little bit of spray down, just a little to stick this on. Okay, and then it's really important that you spray the sides. That's the most important part. The bottom's fine, but since you have the pan liner and the amount of fat in the cake, it won't stick to that. Okay, so you have 2 cakes that you're making. You're going to kind of divide this in half. It's a nice rich batter. Put it in this 2 scoops in each one, start with. You want them to be equal because you're going to be making a 2-layer cake with this, with the cream cheese frosting. So I can go back and do another one. Okay. I have a little left in there, but I don't want to overfill my pan. So then you just kind of spin, round it off. Like this. Okay, I'm gonna kind of, this one looks a little low. Okay. And then when you're ready to bake, you're gonna put this on a sheet pan, and then you're gonna bake it at 350 degrees, and it takes about 30 minutes, give or take. And then when it comes out, I will show you what it looks like, and I'll show you how to make the frosting and decorate. So we'll be seeing you soon. Thank you. Okay, so we're back, and here's the finished red velvet cake. It's a nice dark red color, and that's what it's supposed to look like. It shouldn't be falling apart or crumbling. And what I'm going to do now is show you how to make the cream cheese frosting, and then I'll show you how to put it all together and assemble. And you need to move very quickly at this point because it takes some time to frost the cake. Okay, so what you're going to do for your cream cheese frosting is the recipe calls for 8 ounces of cream cheese and a half cup of butter, which is 1 stick. It works better if both are at room temperature. So your teacher probably will take your bags out and have them at room temperature for you. So what you're going to want to do is in your kitchen mixer, you're going to use the whip attachment to incorporate air, and I've also actually put in a little bit of vanilla, it's in the bottom, for flavor. So you're going to start off slow, and it would help if my electricity was working. You know how these drains go. So you're going to start off slow, and then increase your speed, just to start incorporating the air. And make it nice and light and creamy. You can see that's happening there. Okay. So I'm going to just scrape down the sides. So to give this frosting some, well, sweetness and a little bit of heaviness, making it more spreadable. We're going to incorporate some powdered sugar. So to do that, you need a pound of powdered sugar. So just to recap, how to use the scale, you're going to turn it on. Okay, put your bowl on. Of course, mine turned off. So just be patient with them. Okay, and then you always zero out first. Okay, so now I'm at 0. So I need 1 pound, and if you recall from all your measurements, 1 pound is equivalent to 16 ounces. Okay, so we're at 7.85 ounces. We need 16. Okay, so we're a little over, so just take some out. Now we're a little under. It's a finicky little thing. We should be, it keeps going back and forth, it just does not want to go to 16. There we go. Okay, so if I put all of this powdered sugar in here right now, it's going to explode in my face or in your face when you do it. So you want to start slow. I'm going to put about a cup in at a time, and again, start off slow and gradually increase. Okay, so now it doesn't catch on to the stuff at the sides. So it's really important that you keep scraping the bottom and the sides to get all that powdered sugar incorporated, or it will not be tasty. This will help firm up your frosting. Okay, so at this point now, I'm going to take another cup and incorporate it. And again, start off slow. And I'm only doing about a cup at a time, or else it literally will go everywhere. Okay, so I'll be back to show you what the finished product looks like when all my sugar is incorporated. So we're back, and you can see I incorporate the rest of the powdered sugar. And you really, after it's all been mixed in, a lot of times students don't let it just kind of beat. If you just let it keep whipping and beating along, air is incorporated. And you can see it, your frosting kind of grows because so much air has been incorporated. That's a plus because it makes it so it's easier to spread onto your cake. Alright, so even if you made this frosting the day before and put it in the fridge, you really should rebeat it to incorporate that air back into it. Okay, so I'm going to stop, take it out, and I locked it. Okay. So when you finish with your frosting should hold like a whip right up the top. Okay. So what we're going to do now is frost our cake. When you're frosting a cake, it's best sometimes to, especially if you're a novice, to have, meaning beginner, to have some warm water right next to you because it helps to clean off your spatula, that helps you spread, and it also helps just to help make it's warm to spread on the cake. Alright, so we have just a spinner here, okay, that makes for easy frosting. If you don't have one of these to use, you can easily use a plate and kind of do it the same way. What I did was I took the first layer out, and this was it. The cake's in there like that, and you kind of flip it over. It makes for a flatter surface rather than having that peak. Now, if you were working in a bakery, usually they cut the top off using a serrated knife, but we want every last morsel of this cake, so we're going to leave it, and it still works just fine. Okay. So when you're removing the cake from the pan, just cut along the side, which I already did. Flip it over nicely. And not all of you will have the glorious privilege of using one of these amazing pans, but that's okay. And then you kind of just loosen the bottom. And then you have your liner. That's why you use the liner. Just peel that back. Okay? And then that's going to go right up top, but we need to put our center layer in. So, sometimes you might have the privilege of using a piping bag. If you could use a piping bag, what you would do is you put your frosting in a piping bag, and you would go along the side, and then put a nice glob in the middle and kind of spread it all out. I'm not going to use a piping bag just for purpose of time, So I'm going to start, you always start in the center, just like that, and I'm just going to go outward. And I put parchment paper underneath just so it's easy to clean. So, need a little bit more, feeling a little bit thin. It's nice and light and airy cream cheese frosting. Do not want it hard, or else this is just going to crumble. And that's one of the things that we always see is the cakes just crumble, and the students are always like, what did I do wrong? And you have to be patient. Alright, so some of this frosting is kind of hanging over the side, and that's fine. You want it to do that, because that's going to be our side layer. Okay, so nice even layer there. So now you're going to take your cake and kind of press it right on, like so. Not too hard. Okay. So essentially, I'm going to put the first layer on. You start with what's called a crumb coat. And a crumb coat is what holds the cake together, and then you refrigerate it, and then you decorate it. We're just going to do one coat, just because this is just to get you practicing assembling cake. You had practice when you made the carrot cake, but so you should be better at this now. Okay, and this will help prepare you for your cake decorating lab. Okay, so now I have my top and I have my middle. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to clean this off, just like so. Take a little bit more of this. I'm going to start on the side, and I'm going to spin. Oop. Start on the side, and I'm going to spin. Some of it's going on that parchment paper, and that's fine, because we're just going to remove that at the end. You don't want to be too thick in any areas. Put a little more on the top because it makes it easier to start on the sides, and then spin, just like so. Okay, I have a little too much on there, so I'm just going to clean it up on the sides. So now essentially this would be your crumb coat. It kind of holds it all together, and then you would refrigerate and give it and start again, and it would all be kind of cold and hold on. But I'm going to put another layer on because I'm actually going to serve this to the people working here at school in the summer, so I want it to look decent. Also, what you could do to kind of hide some of the imperfections is we're going to put out some sprinkles, you can put out nuts, and you can kind of just press those on to the sides, and then that will help hide any imperfections on your cake. A lot of bakeries will do that, and that's what they're doing. They're hiding the imperfections, because even the professionals have mistakes. Okay, so just like so. Okay, so then what you would do now, I'm pretty good, you would remove your pieces, and then you would slice your cake into enough slices for everybody in your class to share. You're probably going to be making 2 of these, so it doesn't have to be too small, but this essentially, if you cut it properly into, thin slices rather than the triangles that you're used to, you could probably get 30 servings out of this small little cake. Okay, thank you.